Hello nerds, I'm Jay from DRG and welcome to yet another Frosted Flames devlog. This is the 28th episode of a monthly series where I show off the progress made on my first real project. I was gone for like the first 11 days of July, so I have a bit of catching up to do to say the least. So let's just stop wasting time and jump right into the devlog. When I got back home on the 11th, I had a long list of bugs that my bug tester and friend Magic had discovered. They were relatively easy to fix and find, so that they only really took about half an hour. And once I was done, I got around to working on the mountains I had started creating near the end of June. So I got to work on that for a while, and after working on the mountains for another 30 minutes, I decided to call it a day after making some pretty good progress. On the 13th, I had returned to the game and to continue working on the mountains, which I did. I finished it and I added all the decorational tiles before adding a winged statue, which would take you to a new area, the Sky Islands, a small area where you can encounter thunder and wind slimes. It allows you to access yet another city. On the 15th, I began creating one of the last two capital cities, though I was a tad busy that day, so I didn't get much of a start. Only creating less than half of the island, that half containing the inn and the weapons and armor shop, so that's roughly half of everything a city needs, so yeah. Today, I got around to actually making the other half of the explorable city, including a couple of decorational buildings, because without them, a city like this wouldn't be very city-like. While there isn't much to say on that front, my bug tester and friend Magic was ready to do some more mapping of his own, and got started on creating a few underwater cave maps. I also created two more weapons, both ideas brought up to you by my bug tester friend Magic, the Luxman and the Mini Ballista. As for what they'll do, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. On the 18th, I created new areas in Eralta City. One is the highest point in the city where the player can feel close to the gods. This serves as a pretty minor function, being a cheaper way to get permanent stat increases, albeit the permanent stat increases are still expensive, just less so than if you were to get them at the Queen's Mansion. And after that, I created the Drop-Off, a large area where the player can jump off the Sky Islands and safely land on the desert below, thanks to wind magic. Basically, a fast way of getting to the below world, and lastly, I created the Eralta teleportation station and altered the other teleportation stations so that you can teleport to Eralta. You ever say a word so many times that it stops feeling like a word? Same. Today was a good day for progress. I finished creating the inn, the item shop, and the weapon shop in Eralta, meaning I had basically finished the entirety of the capital. On top of that, I fixed multiple oversights and bugs that were brought to my attention by my friend, a bug tester and co-developer Magic, and now that I've done all of that, I can finally get to work on adding side content like bosses, quests, and other cool stuff like that. The 20th was an amazing day. I had gone around to fixing quite a few mistakes that Magic had found in the game, which is always nice, but then I got around to adding in a new optional boss I had been planning and meaning to add to the game since I reworked the Subspace of Time dungeon. And finally, after writing the boss AI and working on all that, I added a major gameplay element, dual wielding. You see, depending on the weapon your character wields, they may actually be able to wield two weapons. Currently, the only weapons with dual wielding are gauntlets and swords, since they are the only ones that really make a lot of sense. For gauntlets, well, you have two hands, two different types of gauntlets. You catch a drift? For swords, however, it's actually pretty well known that dual-wielding swords used to be very popular in one-on-one duels. You can look it up, it's quite fascinating, actually. And so those are the reasons behind those weapons. As for who can dual-wield, though, currently, only 3 characters can dual-wield, and one of them is only playable for, like, a small segment of the game, like, one battle, so you can't change their equipment. The other 2 characters, however, are Jack and Trevor, so feel free to theorycraft possible builds to put on these characters. Today, the plan was to make traversing through the space-time much easier, by adding 3 new landmarks, the Infinite Hotel, the Coliseum, and the Multiverse Shop. Once I added these landmarks to the Void, I mapped the inside of the Infinite Hotel, which is canonically infinite, but you can only explore a part of the first floor of the hotel for obvious reasons. I eventually finished mapping the inside of the hotel, so all that was left was to add events inside the hotel, such as shops, NPCs, and the ability to actually sleep at the inn. Today was a very busy day. I was out working until 6 p.m., but I made sure to put some time into game development. And by that, I mean I did, at the very least, like an hour or two at the last minute at 10 p.m., where I finished work on everything in the Infinite Hotel that was needed to make it function. And that's really it. Today was the last day of development before I began editing this video, so I had to give it my all. I created a new area, the multiverse shop, and added the shopkeeper who carries a wide variety of items. And by wide variety, I mean a fuck ton. After that, I got to adding probably the last major area in space-time, the Colosseum. If you haven't played Kingdom Hearts, Hollow Knight, or any other game with this side mode, you basically fight multiple waves of enemies, spending a wide array of strength, and it ends with a special boss. So I got to adding the main entrance where you select what set of wave battles you want to partake in, setting up the fee system and all that stuff, and then I created the area where to actually fight the enemies. Then I added all the NPCs in the audience so it looks like a bit livelier, but after that, I had to stop as I started getting tired, and it was literally the 25th by the time the day was over, so my time was basically over. And that's it for the July devlog. As said in the beginning of the video, I had been gone for the first third of the month, so I really tried my hardest to make up for that over the second and third of the month. And I would like to say that I did a good job. Adding one of the two final countries, adding a new super boss, and creating 3 new major locations the player visits, while also making one of the biggest maps in the game more easy to traverse, is definitely good, to say the least, progress-wise. But that's it for this video. If you want more game dev videos or want to see more of this project, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff to make the YouTube algorithm say, hey, this guy's pretty cool. And I can assure you that I will get a great boost in morale too if you do that. But besides that, I'd like to thank you all for watching. This is Jay from DRG, signing out.